Max, what do you want for dinner?
Justice.
Restorative justice. And the cool thing about our faith is that Jesus has always been an example of how to live, and Jesus is a good example of how to seek justice for others. There's this great story with Jesus in the book of John I'm going to read for you real quick about justice and about raising people up. So sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. There is in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me get into the pool when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." And at once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and he walked. So the story goes on and talks about how Jesus had to fight against the religious leaders who were upset because Jesus healed the man on a Sabbath day, which is a day where you're not supposed to do work. But what the amazing thing is Jesus didn't just talk to this man and learn his story and then leave him alone. Jesus talked to this man, got down on his level, and healed him. And the reason this is important, if you had some kind of weird disease or if you were paralyzed in Jesus' day, the only job you could do was a beggar. So you had to wait for people to throw coins at you and maybe you could get food that day. But it was a very, very horrible way to live. And Jesus went and he healed this guy so that he could have a new chance at life after 38 years of being paralyzed. So Jesus wasn't one to just give people handouts, but he was able to help people get them out of their situation and to raise them back up like the children of God that we are supposed to be. And not raise them up to be better than, but to be equal as. And there's tons of stories of Jesus healing people or helping people or teaching people to get them to be, to raise them up into a new situation to be better than where they were before, to get them to live a good, healthy life. So even if you may not believe that Jesus was a real guy or that he was God or that he did these miracles, the stories that the Bible tell about his life are just good stories that remind us how to treat people and how to take care of each other. Jesus was one who was always helping people. And even if it was a fictional Jesus, just the idea that this guy would want to help people and for no reason other than that he claimed to be God, that should inspire us to want to help others as well. It's just a good story of humans taking care of other humans. And we should be doing that. We who have privilege should be helping those who don't, not because we want to lose our privilege, but we want to give that privilege to everyone else so they can have the same as we have. Because if you're raising someone up, someone else will raise you up as well. I've always said that when you're taking care of others in a safe, good community, others should be taking care of you. So when you're worried about your own needs because you think you're taking care of others too much, just remember that someone else will take care of you. Jesus was such a great example of how to treat others equitably. He didn't treat everyone the same. He treated them how they deserve to be treated, because we're all made in the image of God. Even if you don't believe in God, to know that we are all humans and we all deserve love and we all deserve respect and we all deserve to be treated fairly. That's just a human need. So our culture has a lot of obsession with money. And usually people with money have power in our culture.
I put you on the street.
And people with power can make change. So people who usually are in poverty, like we talk about with the 30-hour famine, don't have a lot of opportunity to get out of poverty. So that's why Jesus talked a lot about with people who were poor, people who were orphans and widows. He talked a lot about those people because those are people who were very disenfranchised in his day. Widows couldn't work and so didn't make money and couldn't provide for their families. And orphans were just kids who didn't have families, so they didn't have anybody looking out for them. So Jesus was really big on helping widows and orphans and people who were very poor because they didn't have anyone looking out for them. We should also be finding people who are what Jesus called the least of these, the people who are on the outskirts of our society who have been treated poorly, and we should be bringing them into our churches and our families and our communities so that we can help to raise them up. It's one thing to help people in a personal way, like working at a soup kitchen, doing some charity work. Those are all very good things. But the even better work and the harder work, and sometimes the most difficult work, is asking why those people are in those situations in the first place.
Come, Mindy, it's time for us to conquer the world.
Why?
By right of superior intelligence, I am best suited to guide the destiny of this planet.
Why?
My empirical powers give me the mandate.
Why?
Because it's something I want to do.
Okay, love you.
And what can we do to help more people not get into that situation? When we seek justice for others, it's a way of caring about others more than we care about ourselves. And you don't see that in our culture very much either. We like to hear news stories where people are, helping their neighbors, or if there's a flood, we all band together, or if we're in a pandemic and people are helping each other out. Those are all great stories to hear, but are we actually doing it in our communities? Are we seeking justice for people who don't have enough? Are we reaching out to our neighbors to see if they're okay? Are we helping people in need? There's a lot of people that may be in need during this time, and this is a wonderful opportunity when we're not in school and we have more hours in the day to seek people to help and to ask the question, why?
Why?
Why are people in poverty? Why are people living on the streets? Why are families being broken apart? Let's ask these questions and see what we can do to help. And sometimes it seems like the questions are too big for us to answer, but there's lots of people in the world that are doing really good work and answering these questions that we may have already. So if we work with other people that are already doing the work, we don't have to do new work. The work's already been done. We can be a part of something that's bigger than us anyway. So let's find ways that we can seek justice for others. Let's look for ways that things are not fair for everybody in our world. Let's get outside of ourselves. Let's get outside of our privilege and look for ways that we can help others around us. Ask the big questions. Ask, why are things the way they are? And if you think you come across a life's not fair answer, then find out how we can make it fair for people. We want people to have justice. We want to restore communities. We want to have restorative justice where people can seek peace and can live peacefully within their communities. And we want to make sure that everyone is treated as a child of God. Have a great week, everybody. We